During a boring lecture, I texted my online crush, "Hey babe, Venmo me $50 for strawberries. I'll repay you around your neck next time." The next second, the same message flashed on the auditorium screen. Professor Alexander Carter, our department's famously unattainable ice prince, calmly replied without missing a beat, "Be good. I'm working. We'll talk tonight." My soul left my body. My roommate had dragged me to random lectures all day to collect credits. After 5 professors droning for 3 hours straight, my butt had gone numb from the plastic seats. When the 6th speaker took the podium, the auditorium erupted in gasps. My roommate dug nails into my arm. "Emily, look! It's Professor Carter. He never does these freshman lectures." I glanced up at the department's youngest tenured legend, even fiddling with presentation slides. Alexander looked ethereal, crisp dress shirt sleeves rolled to reveal forearms that made art majors weep. That signature frosty demeanor intact. My gaze snagged on the red and green braided bracelet around his wrist, identical to the good luck charm I'd nagged my online boyfriend to wear last month. Speaking of whom, my brain helpfully replayed the abs pic he'd voluntarily sent yesterday, marble sculpture definition glistening with post-workout sweat. Deliciously NSFW thoughts swarmed as I opened our chat. His last message still said heading to my shift from 2 hours ago. Perfect. Time for mischief. I typed, "Hey babe, Venmo me $50 for strawberries. I'll repay you around your neck next time." Sent. The auditorium exploded into chaos before my finger left the screen. My roommate nearly dislocated my shoulder, shaking me. "Oh my God, Emily, look. Is that Professor Carter's girlfriend?" I looked. And died. There on the 20-foot projector screen was my flirty text thread. "Alexander, no. Alex, my sweet, bashful barista boyfriend who sent me shy heart emojis, was calmly minimizing our chat." I felt my phone vibrate. His response glowed in my palm, "Be good. I'm working. We'll talk tonight." The crowd lost it. Did you see? His girlfriend's contact name is Kitten, with a heart emoji. She's his only pinned chat. Stop. I can't handle Professor Prince Charming being taken. God. Imagine waking up to that face every morning. My roommate suddenly gasped. "Wait. Emily. Her profile pic is exactly like yours." "That's wild." I choked out a laugh. Haha. Crazy coincidence. As she turned to gossip with others, I stared at the podium. Matching bracelet. Matching avatar. Matching texts. The math wasn't matching. My adorably dorky boyfriend who worked part-time at Java Hut was our stone-cold royalty professor? This had to be some multiverse glitch. I couldn't help recalling those revealing abs photos. Staring at the well-dressed, eloquent man before me, my face suddenly flushed. Alexander Carter, was he really like that in private? During the latter half of the lecture, my mind wandered completely. Watching Alex's lips move, all I could think about were those pictures. He left in a hurry after the session. As he departed, I overheard girls in front whispering, "Did you hear? Professor Carter seemed anxious to meet his girlfriend." My heart skipped a beat. Walking back to the dorm, my phone exploded with notifications from Alex. "What's wrong, sweetheart? Why aren't you replying?" "My work's done. Should we continue our conversation?" "What's my baby doing? Can't just tease me and disappear." "Forgot to Venmo you $50 for strawberries earlier. Transfer, $50,000. Still ignoring me?" The flood of messages overwhelmed me. I couldn't reconcile these words with Alex's usual demeanor, feeling both embarrassed and unsure how to respond. While hesitating, my senior neighbor relayed, "Emily. Professor Harrison says his computer crashed again. Needs your help." Brian Harrison was my advisor. Ever since I fixed his sluggish laptop last time, he'd been summoning me for tech support. Rushing to his office, I froze upon seeing Alex there. He sat across the room, gloomily staring at his phone, avoiding eye contact. I focused on troubleshooting Brian's computer. Knew you'd handle it. Emily. Brian beamed. Oh. Professor Carter mentioned his WhatsApp isn't receiving messages. Help him check too? My stomach dropped. I instantly knew why Alex's app malfunctioned. Was this even fixable? Under Brian's expectant gaze, I forced myself to approach, deepening my voice. Professor Carter, your WhatsApp seems startled. Alex instinctively leaned away. It's fine. His cold formality suited me perfectly. As I turned to flee, his gaze locked onto my phone screen displaying my corgi wallpaper. My blood ran cold. I'd sent countless puppy photos to my online crush, even using this favorite shot as wallpaper. Tucking my phone away hastily, I stammered, if there's nothing else. Alex suddenly spoke up. Voice strained, wait a second. He extended his arm to block my path. Could I see your phone wallpaper? My heart leaped into my throat. Did he recognize it? Instinctively covering my phone-filled pocket, I stammered. It's probably not convenient. Alex furrowed his brow slightly. Is something wrong? It's private. I blurted out. Alex appeared thoughtful before offering an apologetic smile. Forgive my intrusion. The puppy in your wallpaper resembles one that saved me years ago. If you're uncomfortable, feel free to cover any sensitive areas. My mind reeled. When did my dog rescue anyone? Yet under Alex's earnest gaze, I inexplicably unlocked my phone. His eyes shifted the moment he saw the screen. Is this your dog? He asked softly, newfound intensity coloring his tone. I snatched back my device. Damn it! This wasn't about any heroic canine. He was testing me. No. Definitely not. My head shook violently as I scrambled for excuses. That's my sister's dog. Your sister? Alex tilted his head. I nodded frantically while secretly accessing my alternate account, scrolling through months of staged conversations between my main and secondary profiles. See? These are the photos she sent me, I said, pointing to multiple nearly identical puppy images from my meticulous editing process. Thank God for using my alt account as a digital dumpster. Alex's eyes lit up as he spotted my main account's profile picture. Is this your sister? Cold dread washed over me. We're not particularly close. I backpedaled, suddenly animated. Alex extended his hand. Could I get your contact? I might need assistance later. Every fiber resisted sharing my information. But I noticed his subtle glance toward Professor Brian, who possessed access to my main account. If Alex asked Brian for my details, my entire facade would crumble. Of course, I chirped, adding him via my alt account with exaggerated cheer. Happy to help. Professor Carter. The moment I turned away, my smile evaporated like morning dew. What a mess. Ugh. Even though Alex, my online boyfriend, is practically wrapped around my finger, that's only because he likes the online version of me. If he ever found out I'm actually his student in real life, he sent me those revealing photos himself. Said all those cheesy sweet nothings. With his personality, he'd probably die of embarrassment. Then not only would I get dumped, but he might even start giving me hell at school. Maybe the best solution is to quietly break up with him first. Though I have to admit, I'll kinda miss this. Walking down the street, my phone keeps blowing up with notifications from Alex. Baby, guess what? One of my students is your sister. Crazy coincidence, right? She even uses your puppy's photo as her phone wallpaper. You two must be super close. Don't get the wrong idea. Sweetheart. I just happened to see it. Wasn't snooping or anything. Why are you still ignoring me? Crying face. Transfer, $20,000. Staring at his relentless messages. My stomach churns. I steel myself and flip on Do Not Disturb mode. Back in my dorm, I quickly freshen up. When I check my alternate account, there's already a message from Professor Carter. Emily, any chance you could contact your sister? I deliberately wait before replying, sorry Professor Carter. Can't reach her. Thinking that would shut things down. I nearly drop my phone when 2 new notifications pop up on my main account. Sweetheart, are you in trouble? Stay put. I'm calling the police right now. My blood runs cold. Police? That would ruin everything. What kind of insane logic is this? Fingers flying across the screen. I type, I'm here. Just fell asleep this afternoon. Alex. His instant reply puffs across the screen, thank God. You scared me to death. Baby. Anxious face with sweat. You haven't eaten yet? Take the money and go get dinner. Patting head. When you didn't reply all day. I felt this awful panic. You wouldn't really leave me. Would you? That last message hits like a punch to the gut. Alex has always been so attentive, generous with both his wallet and those shirtless gym selfies. Is breaking up with him really the right move? But how long can I keep this charade going? My eyes suddenly sting as hot tears plop onto my phone screen. My roommate walks by and does a double take. Emily? You okay? Blinking through the blur. I turn to her with trembling lips. My roommate immediately pulled me into a hug. Who upset you? She looked ready to throw hands. I sniffled. Sophia. What would you do if you found out your online boyfriend was someone completely incompatible in real life? She relaxed instantly. That's all? Just break up. He's just a guy. With your looks, you'll have no trouble finding someone else. Her tone shifted mischievously. But did he ever spend money on you? I heard some guys demand refunds after breakups. So cringy. I froze. Alex had indeed spent considerable money on me, though I'd refused some gifts. But surely he wasn't that type. Noticing my hesitation, she patted my shoulder. Hey, money's no big deal. Just, maybe don't make the breakup too messy. Too terrified of Alex reporting me to authorities to ghost him outright. Yet wary of confrontation after her warning. I agonized before finally texting, what are you thinking? He responded instantly. Knew you'd understand. Want more photos today? You seemed to enjoy last night's pictures. My face burned. Was I that obvious? But now knowing I'd been ogling Alex's body, the thrill intensified. I hesitated, is this okay? He replied matter-of-factly, why wouldn't it be? I like showing you. While I deliberated. 10 minutes later. Alex, abs shot. Abs shot. Explicit abs shot. He flooded our chat with various angles. One particularly arresting photo showed his gray sweatpants slung low. Defined abdominal muscles tapering into vanishing V-lines beneath the waistband. My eyes glued to the screen as he asked, good enough? Beyond good enough. Yet remembering how Alex's shirt buttons remained strictly fastened during lectures. I felt criminal. This was Alex we were talking about. I replied painfully. Stop sending those photos. Alex. I don't like this. He sent a confused emoji, but you seemed so happy last night. He even screenshotted my messages from last night where I'd spammed drooling emojis at him. He kept taunting, lower your waistband a bit more. Alex. How scandalous. This goes against all decency. I closed my eyes and typed, that was in the past. I've changed. Alex. After Alex sent a crying emoji. He stopped messaging me for a long time. When I checked my alt account later, Alex had indeed come here. Emily. Could you ask your sister about her boyfriend? Is your sister in a bad mood today? To maintain the act. I played dumb. Boyfriend? She has a boyfriend? Alex insisted, absolutely. Go ask her. Suddenly. I had an idea. I messaged my main account from my alt for a staged conversation. AAA, sis. Do you have a boyfriend? Emily, no. AAA, really? Don't lie. Emily, really don't. I sent the screenshot to Alex. Emphasizing, she says she doesn't have a boyfriend. Alex got frantic. Impossible. Is this really your sister? He forwarded my profile information. Me, yes. What's wrong? Professor Carter? Then he fell into prolonged silence. God knows what he was thinking. Much later, I finally received a message on my main account. Baby. Have you stopped loving me? A dull ache instantly pierced my heart. Though it faded quickly, I forced myself to type casually, a little. Guess I'm getting bored. It's been over a year. Aren't you tired? He replied instantly, no. Not at all. Did I do something wrong? I'll fix it. Baby. You promised you'd never abandon me. The pain resurfaced. Dragging this out would only torture us both. Feeling the bitterness swell, I decided to take the final step. Even if he demanded money later, I'd work hard to repay him. Enough is enough. No more delays. I'm sorry. We should break up. I hardened my heart and blocked Alexander Carter. An instant hollowness washed over me. But there's no retrieving an arrow once shot. This way, Alex would never know he'd dated his own student. I tried maintaining my routine. Yet whenever someone cut in front of me at the cafeteria line or when assigned tedious tasks, I'd instinctively reach for my phone to complain to Alex only to remember I'd already blocked him. Alex had tried contacting me through my alternate account. But after repeatedly claiming rejection, he'd stopped messaging there too. Maybe he'd moved on. Apart from glimpsing his photo on the faculty honor roll, we had zero contact. One day Professor Brian Harrison summoned me to fix his computer. While troubleshooting, I overheard his phone call. The normally composed professor suddenly paled. What? Which hospital? I'm coming now. I casually asked. Everything all right? Professor Harrison? Someone sick? He scrambled to gather belongings. Professor Carter. Alex Carter. You know him. Damn it! No idea what's gotten into him lately. My body froze. Alex? Alex hospitalized? Unconsciously. I grabbed Brian's sleeve. What? Professor Carter? What happened? Brian startled at my abrupt gesture but explained, he stopped eating days ago. Just collapsed at home. The words hit like a sledgehammer. Loss of appetite. Because of me? Before I could ask more, Brian hurried off with his satchel. I paced his office restlessly. After 2 agonizing hours, I caved and called. He answered after prolonged rings. Voice heavy, Emily? Clutching my phone, Professor Harrison. How's Professor Carter? Catching my over-concern, I added hastily, my aunt works at Mercy General. Maybe I can help? Brian sighed exasperatedly, thanks. But it's handled. The idiot got dumped and starved himself into hypoglycemia, combined with his chronic gastritis. Needs hospitalization. Confirmation punched through me. Barely coherent. I pleaded, can I visit? I took care of my mom during her hospital stay. I'm good at this. Brian considered, actually. That'd help. I've got an afternoon seminar. Emily. I trust you. He's my son. Only 4 years older. Don't treat him like your professor. I was stunned again. Alex was actually Brian's son? No wonder Brian had been so frantic earlier. For the first time, I declined my roommate's invitation to attend a lecture. Following the address Brian provided, I rushed to the hospital. After handing over responsibilities to me, Brian left. When I entered the hospital room, I saw Alex leaning against the headboard with an IV drip in his arm, looking pale and fragile, the corners of his eyes still slightly red. He glanced at me when he heard movement but immediately turned away. quietly approaching. I picked up an orange from the bedside table and began peeling it. After gathering my thoughts, I spoke solemnly. Alex. Sophia told me everything. She said the breakup was just about incompatibility. Not because you're lacking. And she really doesn't want to see you like this. I handed him the meticulously peeled orange. She said she hopes you'll take better care of yourself. Alex looked down at the orange in my hand, seeming to recall something. After a moment's consideration, he took a strawberry from the fruit basket and offered it to me. Have some too. I shook my head. Thanks. But I don't really like strawberries. He paused, studying me intently. You and Sophia are quite similar. Neither of you likes strawberries. And you both peel off every bit of pith from oranges. These were personal habits I'd casually mentioned to my online partner. He actually remembered them all. My hands trembled slightly. Are really? Alex locked eyes with me. Even your voice sounds similar when you talk like that. I quickly deepened my tone. No way. He sat up straighter, suddenly energized. Stop forcing your voice lower. I strained harder. I'm not. His piercing gaze seemed to see straight through me. Out of nowhere, he asked, why do you use Sophia's puppy as your phone wallpaper? I blurted randomly, because it's cute, just felt like it. I spent the next hour nervously fielding Alex's sudden, peculiar questions. My nerves stretched taut. Only after watching him eat some porridge and vegetables did I dare leave. That evening back at campus, Brian called. The old man sounded thrilled. Emily, you really have a knack for this. That stubborn brat wouldn't eat anything before. But now he's finally got an appetite. He says he only feels hungry when you're there to eat with him. Could you possibly keep visiting him these next few days? I've never dared to refuse Brian's requests. Especially since this whole situation started because of me. But why would Alex tell Brian those things? Could he have discovered something? My anxiety grew as I lay awake all night. The next morning, I showed up at the hospital with dark circles under my eyes to deliver Alex's meal. He frowned the moment he saw me. What happened to you? I blinked blankly. Huh? His cool fingertips brushed beneath my eye. Didn't sleep well? I stumbled backward, putting distance between us. I'm fine. He lowered his gaze while unpacking the food container, murmuring, I still need to stay hospitalized for a week. You'll keep coming, right? I shot up from my chair. But Brian said 3 days. Alex looked up with glistening eyes, pressing his lips together silently. My resolve crumbled instantly. A week's fine. His rare smile appeared like sunlight breaking through clouds. I watched him eat, noticing his attention drift to the neighboring hospital bed where a couple sat sharing a meal. The boyfriend in a cast whined. My hand's injured. Can't you feed me? The girlfriend sighed but began spoon-feeding him. Alex stared intently at her feeding hand, then examined his own perfectly functional fingers. Something unreadable flashed across his face. The next day, I found his right hand wrapped in comically thick bandages. What happened? I gasped. He gazed mournfully at his mummified hand. After you left yesterday, I tried peeling an apple. His voice trailed off. I rushed to his bedside. Can you still use it? He avoided eye contact. The doctor said not to strain it. I'm not good with my left hand. His eyes kept darting to the food container as his voice grew quieter. I scratched my head awkwardly. You mean, I should feed you? Before I could retract the offer, he looked at me with overflowing gratitude. That's too much trouble, but thank you. Emily. You're so kind. Wait, why do I sense anticipation radiating from him? I stiffly opened the food container. Mechanically, I picked up the spoon. Robotically, I lifted a spoonful of porridge to Alexander Carter's lips. He smiled radiantly, his gaze intently focused on me. I squirmed under his scrutiny like a trapped animal. He ate each mouthful with increasing enthusiasm, finishing the entire bowl in minutes before asking expectantly, "No more?" Relieved. I shook my head. That's all. By the third day, I'd marginally adjusted to feeding Alex. If I imagined him as a particularly chatty cornstalk, his drowning pool eyes locked onto mine as I resolutely delivered another spoonful. The sound of something hitting the floor erupted from the doorway. A crowd had materialized at the hospital room entrance. Professors, students, most clutching get-well gifts or flower arrangements. My roommate, Sophia, stood frozen at the forefront. Her fruit basket spilled across the tiles. I remained mid-lean, spoon still extended toward Alex's mouth. Sophia snapped into action, herding everyone backward while repeatedly apologizing. "So sorry. Our bad. Didn't mean to interrupt. Really, really sorry." The door clicked shut, doing little to muffle the excited chatter. Holy smokes! A girl actually got within 3 feet of Professor Carter. Wait, did they kiss? My angle was terrible. They were just eating. I'm telling you. They were milliseconds from locking lips. Professor Carter was eyeing her like dessert. Since when do people hook up in hospital rooms? Ugh. I sat paralyzed, watching Alex's lips twitch upward at the escalating gossip. My face burned nuclear red. I shot up awkwardly. Maybe I should explain. He caught my wrist, tilting his head. Explain what? That we're not. I mean, this isn't. I floundered. Baseless rumors. He interrupted. Not worth addressing. When I didn't respond, he added softly, "Unless it bothers you?" I shook my head frantically. Good. He released me with a relieved smile. Let them talk. I blinked. Huh? Alexander Carter realized the ambiguity in his words and quickly added, "I meant, don't worry about it. It's all a misunderstanding." The consequence of this misunderstanding was getting mercilessly grilled by my roommate the moment we returned to the dorm. "Emily, since when have you been with Professor Carter?" she demanded. Thank God I was in the front row. No one else got a clear look at your face. I shook my head vehemently. It's not like that. Professor Harrison just asked me to look after him. She gave me a disbelieving look. Cut the crap. Professor Carter couldn't take his eyes off you the whole time. Don't tell me there's nothing going on. I kept shaking my head. This only made her more animated. Do you have any idea how many people are crushing on Professor Carter? The line of admirers stretches from our department building all the way to the gym. And you're the only one he lets get close. If you don't make your move, I'll lose all respect for you. Make my move? My only wish was to safely escort Alex out of the hospital. That would be blessing enough. A week later, Professor Carter was finally discharged. As I left, I casually asked the doctor about his condition. The physician shook his head gravely. My heart skipped a beat. Then he clarified. That patient in bed 3, perfectly healthy guy, should have recovered after 2 days of IVs. But he insisted on staying for observation all week. Handsome young man like that, who actually enjoys hospital food. I stared at the doctor's retreating back, mind buzzing with questions. Alex had wanted to stay hospitalized? What was he thinking? Hospitals are uncomfortable. Unless, was this some scheme against me? Was he holding a grudge over being dumped by my sister and taking it out on me? Even though the hospital was near campus, delivering 3 meals daily had been exhausting. My suspicion grew until I resolved never to attend another of Professor Carter's lectures. No sooner had I made this vow than my secondary phone buzzed with a message. Miss Wilson, come to my office. I found Alex alone in his office. We locked eyes in tense silence until he gestured to his computer screen. The registrar just sent next semester's course assignments. Your class will be taking my subject. I blinked. Why was he telling me this? Was this the retaliation I feared? Noticing my tension, he smiled faintly. Don't worry. I'm just giving you advance notice. As I nodded woodenly, he suddenly sighed. Truthfully, I do miss your sister terribly. Life feels rather colorless without her. Every muscle in my body went rigid. You really like her that much? Alex looked at me and nodded earnestly. I like her very much. Is there any chance Emily would consider getting back together with me? I'll agree to anything. I fumbled awkwardly. Well, she must have her own thoughts. He studied my expression. If Emily wants to break up because of status differences, could she discuss it with me first? My pupils dilated. How did he know? But I maintained composure. I don't know. I can't interfere with her decisions. Alex didn't press further, clicking his pen shut. I need your help. Please convey my words to Emily. Could you arrange for us to meet? As I hesitated, he pointed meaningfully at the course list on his computer. Your next semester's elective. I immediately agreed. Everyone knew Professor Carter's classes were notoriously difficult. His academic standards were brutal, with frequent closed-book exams. This was clearly a threat. Of course I couldn't meet him myself. Fortunately, I had an actual cousin. After 5 hours of begging, my cousin agreed to impersonate me. The meeting place Alex chose was an elegant French restaurant. I hid nearby, nervously crumpling my leather cap as I watched. When my cousin approached, Alex smiled up, then froze momentarily. They shook hands and launched into animated conversation that lasted 90 non-stop minutes. My cousin came over glowing afterward. Where did you find this absolute catch online? Why break up? Let me take over. Though he never mentioned reconciliation, just chatted about everyday things. I blinked. Seriously? She smirked. Dead serious. Honestly, I'm genuinely into someone this handsome. I fell silent. The creases in my leather cap now permanent. Though I do think I like him too, but... Then why don't you go tell him to change his WeChat ID now? Sophia agreed instantly and turned to chase after him. The moment she stood up, she froze. Professor Carter, why are you still here? I turned around at the sound. Only then did I notice Alex standing not far behind us. Backlit by the sunlight, he stood there quietly watching me. His voice remained calm. Emily, how long did you plan to keep pretending? I was horrified. After apologizing to Sophia, Professor Carter escorted me to a private dining room. I huddled in the chair like a quail while he summoned the server and effortlessly ordered all my favorite dishes. Turning back, he asked, anything else you'd like? I shook my head vigorously. Closing the menu, he said, earlier, I was watching you out of the corner of my eye the entire time. My lips pressed tighter. Really? All I saw was him chatting animatedly with Sophia. When I remained silent, he tilted his head closer. Don't you want to talk this through? Staring at his handsome face mere inches away, I forced an awkward smile. So, when did you figure it out? The moment I asked, I regretted it. If he'd known earlier than today, wouldn't my previous acting seem utterly ridiculous? You don't have to answer if, he interrupted, I want to tell you. Everything about you. I want to share. He paused as if recalling, when I noticed your little habits at the hospital. I started suspecting. Then I asked my father for your WeChat ID. Before he finished, I wished the earth would swallow me whole. He'd known since the hospital visit. No wonder he'd been unexpectedly warm those following days. Too many school contacts had my main account info. The slightest comparison would have exposed me instantly. Sniffling, I bowed repeatedly. I'm sorry. I never meant to deceive you. My voice cracked on the verge of tears. I'll keep your secrets safe. Your private photos would never. Professor Carter firmly steadied me. preventing further bowing. Gazing intently into my eyes, he said, "Never apologize to me. While those photos were meant for your eyes only, if you truly wish to share them, that's acceptable too." And what secrets? The entire lecture hall already witnessed me declaring my girlfriend. I've never hidden our relationship just because it started online. I gradually found a sense of reassurance in his gentle, focused gaze, but still felt uneasy. "Then, could you promise not to fail me?" Sniffle. He massaged his temples in exasperation. "Who said I was going to fail you?" I reminded him. "That day, you mentioned I'd take your course next semester." His frustration deepened. "I only meant we'd see each other frequently next semester." When I hinted at that during the lecture, "I thought you'd consider revealing your identity to meet me properly. If you refused, I planned to keep persuading you. Never imagined your sister would show up instead." I stood frozen, struggling to process this. He continued, "My father told me you voluntarily went to the hospital and insisted on caring for me. That meant you still cared. So why break up? Your attitude changed after that lecture, the same one you attended. You discovered your online boyfriend was actually me. The only logical reason for ending things would be finding me unsatisfactory in real life. But you loved the photos I sent. So appearance wasn't the issue. That leaves my position." His methodical analysis left me speechless. So he'd known everything all along. His final question seemed to cost him great effort. "Emily, is it because you disapprove of student-professor relationships?" I answered instantly. "No." Confusion flashed across his face. "Then why?" I lowered my eyes, avoiding his gaze. "I thought you wouldn't approve." "Alex, do you realize how many students idolize you? Now that you know the person behind that account is just an ordinary student like me, do you still feel the same?" For a moment, he looked utterly bewildered before exclaiming, "Ordinary? You're the head of volunteer association. Top 3 GPA in our department for 3 consecutive years. 2-time provincial academic gold medalist. My father's star pupil, and you call this ordinary? For the record, you're objectively stunning. I fell for the real you beneath the screen name. Your offline self could look like anything, I'd still adore you. As for the student-professor aspect," his lips curved. "With you? I'd consider it the greatest privilege." Heat flooded my cheeks. When I finally managed words, they came out squeaky. You checked my GPA?" His laughter rang out, warm and unguarded. "Dad mentioned it during department meetings. Trust me, your reputation precedes you. Emily, he really likes you." Hearing those words from him suddenly gave me a boost of confidence. I straightened my posture but still stammered. "But your whole persona has always been, aloof and reserved. You definitely don't want people to know what you're like when we, He raised an eyebrow. "Persona? I've never crafted an image. I'm just genuinely uninterested in most things. But you're different. If you want me to adopt a new persona, I'm all for it." In the end, Alex pouted until I unblocked him. The moment I did, a $5,000 transfer notification popped up. I blinked. "What's this for?" He gave me a pointed look, testing whether I'm still blocked. I tried sending money dozens of times right after we broke up. Heat crept up my neck. "Then why test it now?" He pivoted faster than I could. "You said Venmo me $50 for strawberries and I'll pay you back." He tapped our chat history. Time to honor that promise. I covered my burning face. "But you sent way too much." "Fine," he declared. "Shameless. Now you owe me 100 times repayment. 100 kisses." I choked. Though he'd become, remarkably bold in private, Alex maintained his usual demeanor on campus. In public, he remained the unapproachable, pristine figure he's always been. Why? Simple, I wanted that other side of him all to myself. When roommates pressed about our relationship, I stayed tight-lipped. But late at night, my phone would buzz with scandalous photos that left me flushed. Alex teased mercilessly, "Told you you'd like them. You lied about being over this." I fired back, "What's that supposed to mean?" He backpedaled, "Just saying I'm glad we match. You enjoy. I provide. Consider it daily service to keep you happy." My face burned nuclear. I frantically shielded my screen from prying eyes. Those sweatpants kept writing lower and lower. "Come next semester." True to Alex's warning, we had to take his course. During the first lecture, he breezed through 3 pages of research credentials in his opening remarks. When asked about his marital status, he deliberately added, "I'm currently unmarried but very happy with my girlfriend." His smiling gaze swept across the room, landing on me in the second-to-last row. I hunched lower in my corner seat, refusing to meet his eyes. My roommate tugged my sleeve. "Emily, look! Professor Carter's actually smiling. Everyone said he's so strict, but he seems to love our class." I glanced up cautiously, straight into his piercing stare. My stomach dropped. Just as predicted, during Q&A he called out in that deceptively gentle tone, "Miss Wilson," while others swooned over his sudden warmth. I felt like he was trying to end me. By the end of class, I'd stood up more times than in my entire last semester combined. "Alex, could you please be more discreet?" I pleaded later in an empty hallway, hands clasped dramatically. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. I thought I was being subtle. "Don't you hear everyone calling me your favorite student now?" Accurate observation. His lips quirked. "You absolutely are." I grabbed his collar. "We agreed to keep this secret until graduation." My aggressive tug popped 2 buttons from his immaculately fastened shirt. "Sweetheart, what's this for?" He leaned down, breath hot against my ear. "If you want to see more, I'll give you a private showing tonight." Professor Carter claimed to practice restraint. Yet every lecture became our bizarre tango, his eyes immediately seeking me out upon entering. His questions laser-targeted at my seat. The whole class noticed his blatant favoritism. When midterm approached, my inbox flooded with desperate messages. "Please, Emily, beg Professor Carter not to make it closed book." Closed book midterm? That's actual murder. Pondering this, I turned and crashed straight into Alex's chest. "Want closed book exams too?" He smirked, bending to my eye level. "Absolutely." I nodded eagerly. He tapped his lips. "Convince me properly then." I rose on tiptoes. He was insatiable. As my lips were about to pull away, his arm snaked around my waist. "One more kiss." I glared. "You." Before I could protest, he'd already deftly parted my lips with his tongue. The deepening kiss gradually lowered me onto the couch. When my foot brushed against his thigh, he took the invitation to press closer, plundering my breath with increasing intensity. Time dissolved until my legs turned to jelly beneath his ministrations. Pushing weakly against his chest, I finally made him release me with obvious reluctance. He grabbed his phone to send a notification, "Midterm exam, open book format." I silently fumed behind him. Who could have guessed the supposedly ascetic Alexander Carter had such passionate depths? After graduation, we stopped hiding our relationship, walking hand in hand through the shopping district. Alex suddenly sighed. "I'm so happy." His gaze dropped to our interlaced fingers. "Isn't this what they call to hold your hand and grow old together with you?" I considered this before teasing. "We're not old yet. Let's revisit this when we're gray." That evening outside a bakery, holiday announcements floated through the crisp air. "This mid-autumn festival. Share mooncakes with your loved ones under the romantic harvest moon." Alex paused, tilting his face toward the luminous orb above. "Emily," he murmured, transfixed. "The moons always seemed so pure and perfect to me. Though moonlight floods the earth, there's only one true moon." Before I could follow his gaze, warm lips brushed my cheek. His whisper tickled my ear, "You're my moon, Emily." Beneath the silver glow, our joined hands tightened in silent promise to hold and be held through all the seasons yet to come.